Remember 2018, where you could go outside and be in the proximity of other people and brush past them without them shooting you a really evil side eye? Good times. It also saw the release of the Nintendo Switch gem Vostok Inc., which caught the eye of legendary Smash Brothers and Kirby director Masahiro Sakurai, who praised its addictive gameplay. I think they're still waiting for that invitation as into Smash, maybe. Anyway, since then, Nosebleed have been hard at work on their next masterpiece. It's time to head back to 1993 and head down to the arcade for a very, very literal rags to riches adventure.
Enter a gaming paradise where there's zero sun and maximum fun! Arcade Paradise! We've got over 35 awesome arcade hits hungry for your quarters! Experience skull-shaking extreme stereo sound! Get your face melted by insane graphics!
Whoa, they're so real!
Smash your rivals, dominate the high-score table, and become a legend! You won't play games that look this good at home until 2021! So don't be a dweeb! Come on down to the new
Hello. Please leave your message after the tone.
Ashley, hello. I approved your proposal to convert the utility room and extend the King Laundry trading area. More space, more washing machines. It's a little obvious, but fine. Hopefully by now you appreciate the laundry's vital role in the community and the modest but steady income it provides. Reinvestment is a sure path to success. Just don't do anything stupid.
So we thought we'd bring in Dre, who's the head honcho from Nosebleed, to tell us a little bit more about the game. Hey, Dre, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, good. Excited to be talking about Arcade Paradise.
Yeah, I bet. So, obviously from the title, I think on first glance, people are just like, it's just an arcade, like simulator thing. But it's not. There's a kind of extra layers to it on top. So can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than just being an arcade collection. So you play Ashley, a sort of late teens, early 20s character. You're working in this dead-end job at your dad's laundrette. Your dad actually, incidentally, is voiced by Doug Cockle, whose voice you might recognise.
The Witcher!
Yeah, from Victor Fram and Geralt the Witcher. Very cool. That was a fun recording session. This laundrette has a few arcade machines in the sort of grubby back room, 2 or 3 arcade machines. And it turns out that these machines are making more money than the laundrette itself. So basically, your raison d'etre is to turn this laundrette into this huge paradise of arcade games, basically. And so alongside kind of playing the 35 plus, I've actually lost count, more than 35, let's say, arcade games when we launch. You'll also be doing a whole bunch of other stuff, like these kind of crappy dead-end jobs, picking up litter, unclogging toilets, that sort of stuff. But we've tried to make everything really gamey and tactile. So there's a lot more to it. There's a kind of storyline, there's this kind of sense of proper progression. And it's very much a Nosebleed game, let's say.
I mean, after Vostok Inc., obviously, Arcade Paradise is your second game with Wild Productions. So does it kind of feel like, you're getting the band back together, or did you never really kind of split up?
I would say we've never really split up. I mean, with Vostok, definitely. With Vostok, our previous game with Wired, they basically helped us get an existing title onto Nintendo Switch. It was already a finished game by the time we kind of got with Wired. With Arcade Paradise, they've been there right from the very start. In actual fact, the seed of an idea came from a conversation at a show when those things were still in existence. But I don't
understand what that is. Outside with people around me?
Yeah, exactly. But in all honesty, it's been really good. I mean, they've given us total creative freedom, and it's
Nice.
been really good to have a second opinions and people to kind of bounce ideas off of. And also really good to have a publisher that we can kind of lean on when we would like specific things that we might not be able to do ourselves. So, for example, getting Doug to be my dad.
Oh, that's so wholesome.
Yeah, it's been really good. It's been a really good sort of collaborative approach to game making as well. That's really nice. So yeah, definitely the band. It's not even so much as getting the band back together. It's like getting into the studio and doing the proper the
sophomore
big
album.
Yeah, that's it.
So you've called it Arcade Paradise, but like if I'm having to clean toilets, this is not really selling the dream of an arcade paradise. I'm sure there's a reason, but also I want to know when's it out. So if you could answer those two questions, that would be useful. Thanks.
Yeah, sure thing. I mean, obviously, outside of the fact that we've created this kind of paradise for gamers who like arcade games and other types of games, we've also all really had crappy dead-end jobs, I think, and part of the game is about breaking out of that kind of crappy dead-end job. There's a specific reason for the name, actually, that's kind of quite heavily linked with the story, but we'll leave that for players to discover. Right. But yeah, like all of our games, we want this one to be kind of really generous. So, when you buy it, you're not just buying one thing, you're buying like a really big, generous kind of package. And like all our games as well, have that I'll just play for 10 minutes and then 3 hours later you're like, whoa, what's happened to the time? And getting that right takes time, but I'm pleased to say it'll be this year, so 2021. Where's my hover car?
I know.
2021, I want a hover car.
This futuristic dystopia is rubbish.
Yeah.
It is rubbish. They didn't just tell us it was going to be watching Netflix until we get wispy beards.
Yeah,
I would never have bought into that.
I do not have long hair, but I've not had a haircut since lockdown, and this is like my
You're fully going for it.
Lockdown hair. Yeah, I did have a big beard as well, but I've decided to trim it for this.
Well, you're on a good stead and good footing when your hair can grow into your beard. You can comb it through almost, to make one giant one. So obviously we saw a teaser for what looked like, a Vostok Inc. sequel, basically, in the run up to today's event. Can you tell us a little bit more about this? And are we going to see any more of Jimmy Goldman, maybe?
Yeah, so Vostok 2093 is a direct sequel to Vostok 2084, which if you played Vostok Inc. is one of the kind of unlockable games in that. So it's very much a souped up version of that top-down shooter with kind of, again, its own progress systems. It kind of loads more weapons and this, that, and the other. So yeah, it's definitely a nod to the Vostok fans. To the Vostok fans out there. As for Jimmy, all the Nosebleed games take place in the same universe. So who knows? Wink.
Who knows? Well, alluding. There we go. I love it. Well, look, Jay, thank you so much for joining us. It's a real pleasure to hear more about this kind of, I'm getting this kind of Archer-esque vibe, the whole laundromat, going, maybe you didn't watch Archer, but you go into.
I'll be honest.
You're not. So basically their spy place is hidden within a laundrette. That was the first thing I thought of. So
yeah,
maybe Archer crossover.
To be honest, it reminds me of one of the arcades that my brother. So I've got an older brother, and he took me to this arcade when I was at school, and it was like the back of this video shop, and there were 6 arcades in there, including RoboCop, and it was just grubby and grim. But that's where you start. It's just this back room. It's got no wallpaper. It's just bare lights and concrete walls and 3 arcade machines, and then it grows out into this fully neon, beautiful, nicely lit kind of place that's your own.
Oh, so you were lucky. Most of us just had a Street Fighter thing and a chip shop or cab office or something near us. So that was it. That was the arcade.
We didn't have Street Fighter. They had what I remember is Rolling Thunder, RoboCop, and they had I think they had one Astro Cab maybe.
Yeah.
With I think it was probably a Japanese ROM as well, if I remember right. But yeah, this is where the game's inspiration comes from. These hazy memories of the early 90s for me being right, I'll not have my lunch. I'll just use my lunch money to, play RoboCop for 30 seconds.
Okay, I've got one final question, which is totally off script, but I'm going to ask you it anyway, right? Okay, if I could say right now, I can put any arcade cabinet in your house, you can have it. What would you have?
Ooh, well, we've got
money, no object.
We've got an arcade machine in the office that has got Windjammers on it, and Windjammers is probably the most played game in the office. But given we already have that, I reckon it'd have to be one of the totally ridiculous sit-in cabinets, G-Lock, remember the Sega one that span around in 360 degrees?
Afterburner. They had a 360 upside
Afterburner
down.
was really good as well.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
In Trocadero, and it would cost £3, and I couldn't land the plane ever, but I didn't care because I'd crash at the end. But you get to spin around.
I never played that game because it was A, too expensive, and B, you had to go to specific places. And I did see it once, and it was like, I really want to go in it, but I can't afford it.
I just used to spin around upside down for a few minutes and then crash.
Sick.
Yes, that's great. That's the best kind of arcade game. Fantastic. Oh, well, look, Dre, thank you so much for chatting to us. We can't wait to see more, and speak to you soon.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.